Having got the key program terms and related concepts in hand, let us now turn to the program as a whole and inspect it from several different vantage points. Viewed from the top, this is a program that intersects with the lives, the tax returns, and the incomes of a very high percentage of U.S. workers. And it is a program that delivers important income to individuals in distinct categories or at certain critical stages of their lives. In 2010, approximately 160 million workers, a very high percentage of the U.S. workforce, had earnings that were covered by, and therefore taxed by, Social Security. Roughly 85% of the earned income of those workers was taxed and logged toward future benefits by Social Security. The balance, the 15% or so that was not, represented earnings or self-employment income above the annual maximum taxed by Social Security, a maximum that is adjusted annually to reflect changing average wage levels. As income inequality has grown in recent years, the percentage falling above the maximum has grown as well. This reach, this coverage, has expanded over the program's life. And as coverage has been pushed out to most employment, and as the program has matured, the number of workers with insured status of the several types has grown. One sees that in this chart from Fast Facts and Figures prepared by the Social Security Administration. Whichever column one picks, permanently insured, that is, those workers who have enough quarters of coverage that they'll not lose fully insured status no matter how little they work in the future. Or fully insured, which includes that first group and also workers who, while lacking a full 40 quarters, have enough quarters that, given their age, they would qualify as fully insured were they to die within the year. Or, finally, those who are insured for disability benefits, whichever column one picks. As one moves along the decades, one finds a steady increase in the percentage of the population 20 and over meeting the test, until very recent years when it has hit a plateau. If one disaggregates that data, one sees, as of a particular year, some other important differences. All follow more or less automatically from the way the program converts work into quarters of coverage and quarters of coverage into insured status. Thus, it should not surprise you that there are age differences in the percentage of the population that qualifies, for example, as fully insured. Here are the numbers for selected age ranges. In the population between 15 and 19, the numbers represent less than 20% meeting the fully insured status test. Moving into the 20s, the percentage rises toward 80%, climbing beyond 90% in the age range from the mid-30s up through the 60s. Another difference one sees upon disaggregating the insured status data is one between men and women. Without separating the numbers by age, if one simply lumps together all males and all females, the respective percentages with insured status show a significant difference, with over 90% of adult males fully insured and 85% of adult females. For years, the number of individuals receiving benefits from Social Security stood stable at approximately one-third the number of those paying into the system. Since the bulk of benefits paid out in a year are funded by the taxes paid by covered workers, that ratio is an important one, and it is in the course of changing as the population bulge known as the baby boom begins to retire and commence drawing benefits. More on this point in a later presentation. Over 54 million individuals receive some type of Social Security benefit. Retirement benefits account for the largest fraction. In its origins, public perception, and current reality, Social Security is predominantly a retirement program. But it is far more. Note the significant percentage accounted for by survivors' benefits. Disability insurance payments, payments to disabled workers, their spouses, and children make up a larger share of the whole. Although the numbers are not broken out in this chart, if you accumulate disabled workers and their family members, the total is nearly twice that for survivors' benefits. Given the structure of this benefit program, most beneficiaries, children, younger spouses caring for children being exceptions, most beneficiaries can expect benefits to continue once begun. But each month, each year, large numbers of individuals freshly qualify for benefits. This points toward a second perspective or vantage point on the program, Social Security's intake. Claimants applying to the Social Security Administration for benefits on the basis of any of the categories we have surveyed. Each year, benefits are awarded to over 5.5 million people. More than 45% of them receive retired worker benefits. Over 15+% disability benefits. The remainder receive secondary or auxiliary benefits as survivors or dependents. Over time, benefits paid to retired workers have increased substantially, but in recent years proportionately less than benefits to disabled workers. The number of retirement benefit awards rose steadily through the 60s, leveled off until 1980, began to climb again in the mid-90s. Demographics assure that that number will continue to grow. Awards to disabled workers increased steadily until the late 70s, declined for about a decade, and then resumed steady growth. What do these benefits mean to people who receive them? This table shows average monthly benefit amounts for both new recipients, the new awards column, and the full population of beneficiaries, current payment. I leave it to you to tease out patterns here, but I do want you to appreciate the order of magnitude. Multiply 12 times the figures for any categories that interest you to see the annual income it represents, and consider that a household may contain several beneficiaries, an eligible spouse, and perhaps children, in addition to the insured worker, yielding a larger annual sum. And of course these are averages, with individual amounts ranging well above and below. The data that we have reviewed so far have been organized by the program's categories and terminology. For another perspective, let us break out of that constraint to observe how the program's benefits impact lives of important categories of the population. This chart reveals the age profile of the several components of Social Security. The profile of its individual components, old age and survivor's insurance on the one hand, disability insurance on the other, are very, very different. No surprise. That is a consequence of their design. Old age and survivor's insurance is primarily an income support program for seniors. Whether one is focusing on retired worker benefits or the benefits paid to spouses of retired workers, or surviving spouse benefits, age thresholds built into the eligibility criteria direct Social Security to a population that is 60 or 62 and older. Shifting to disability insurance, one sees a very different profile. Older beneficiaries are almost non-existent. Why? Once disabled workers reach their statutory full retirement age, they shift to old age insurance. And running to the opposite end of the spectrum, children under 18 are a much larger factor. More women than men receive Social Security benefits. Of all adults receiving Social Security, over 55% are women. The explanation is straightforward. On average, women live longer than men. Slicing the beneficiary population by age, one finds a steadily declining ratio of men to women as age increases. These charts reveal a second striking gender difference, and that is in the relative importance of the several benefit types to men and women. Nearly all the men receiving Social Security receive primary benefits, retired worker or disabled worker benefits, while the comparable figure for women is in the neighborhood of 75%. Secondary benefits, principally benefits as a spouse or surviving spouse, are very important to women, while spouse and surviving spouse benefits barely register for men. Within those population segments on which Social Security benefits are focused, Social Security constitutes a very important income source. If one looks at the total income of the population 65 and over in recent years, one finds Social Security accounting for between 35 and 40% of income. while other sources such as earnings amount to approximately 30%, private pensions a bit less than 10%, asset income a bit more, and government pensions slightly less than 10%. And for large numbers of individuals or family units, the importance of Social Security is even more extreme. As this chart shows, Social Security is the most powerful, the most effective anti-poverty program in the United States, operating with incredible effectiveness in the senior population. Roughly 40% of the senior recipients of Social Security are kept out of poverty by its payments. The exact percentage varies according to marital status and race. The bottom part of the graph reveals a population segment for whom Social Security may be even more important, those who, notwithstanding its benefits, remain in poverty. Children, Social Security and its companion Supplemental Security Income Program kept 1.1 million children out of poverty in 1999. The next unit explores how this program has evolved since its birth in 1935.